Hey, this is Miss Paredes, coming back to you live from my office. Well, not live, it was live yesterday, but anyway. I have something that was handed out in advisory, and I want you guys to fill it out. One thing I do want you to fill out, the other thing is optional. So the first form is the getting to know you form. I am obviously trying to get to know you a little bit better. For the 9th graders, I don't know any of you. For the 10th graders, I know some of you. And for the 11th graders, I know some of you. So if you already kind of know me and we've worked together in the past, fill it out anyway, just so you can flatter me, or yeah, just so that I have something extra to read. Also, there may be things that you think that you told me, and maybe for some reason or another I don't remember them, or it wasn't really recorded. So remind me again. Okay? Getting to know you form. Put your name, your email address, and check off if you don't have one. The reason why I want your email address is that sometimes I'll send you an email to communicate with you, and I'd like to have it on record so that if I ever need to reach you, I'm assuming that if you check your email, that may be one of the ways that I can reach you, aside from pulling you out of class. Who lives in your home, check all that are applicable, mother, father. If you have any other family members that live with you, check that. If you have other people that are not your family, check off that. Siblings, yes or no, and how many. If they live with you, check off yes or no, and if you have some that live with you and some that don't, check both. What language do you speak at home? Some of you don't necessarily speak English at home. If you speak English, just put English, and if you speak Spanish or any other language, let me know. Okay, the next is a section about what are your interests, any talents that you have, any hobbies, and what do you do with your free time. Those are all kind of related. Fill out as much as you can, okay? What do you do usually? Okay, so the next section is about kind of a little bit about school. There are questions around school. So what time do you usually get up in the morning on school days? That's just to give me a sense of how early you're up in the morning. It's just from my own personal lapse, right? Okay, how do you get to school? Do you take the bus, the train, do you walk, or other? If you come some other way, somebody drops you off, or you fly, or no, I'm sure you don't fly, but nonetheless, if there's other, just put other, and please guys, or gals, don't put that you fly, because I know you don't fly. Okay? How long does it take you to get to school? Fill that out. Takes a couple of minutes, an hour or so. Let me know. What do you do? What do you usually do after school? Now, some of you may say, well, I already told her what I do in my free time, but some people after school don't necessarily have free time. Sometimes people have to do things that they don't necessarily want to do. So that would be, what do you usually do after school, whether you want to do it or not, whether it's your free time or not. So say, for example, you have to pick up your little brother or your sister from school. Say that you have a job. Say that you have to meet your mother at her job, or your dad at his place of work, or you go to school with your mom after a year of school. Just let me know kind of what you do after school. If you have a best subject in school, either last year or this year, what would that best subject be? Or what do you anticipate it being? It doesn't necessarily have to be a favorite subject. It could be a subject that you do very well in, even if you like it or you don't necessarily like it. But if you like it and it is your best subject, then put that. What subject do you struggle most in? If you don't really struggle in anything, then you can put what you don't really care for. And if you do struggle in a lot of things, then put what you struggle the most in. You can always put more than one thing if you'd like. Have you ever had to repeat a grade? Check off yes or no, and if so, which grade? The next section is about counseling. I do the counseling here, most of the counseling here for students. Some of it is short term, some of it is long term, so that means that some students I'll see all year, some students I'll only see for a couple of times if they're having sort of a brief problem. So have you ever received counseling in school, whether it was 2 times with the counselor or for the whole year? Check off yes or no. That question is in regards to whether or not you've had counseling in school. Outside of school, you don't necessarily have to indicate yes or no. Have you been in group with a counselor at school? So maybe a guidance counselor had to see you. in a group, or had you participate in a group, like say for anger management or study skills or anything like that. Just check off yes or no. And would you like to be involved in a group counseling this year? You can pick yes or no. Whether or not I had you last year, just fill out yes or no. And if you're not really sure, check off with yes or no. For those of you who may have had me for last year, don't think I'm going to be highly offended if you check off no when you were in group last year. It's just important that I kind of know what your preference is, so that if you check off yes, then I'll kind of meet with you and we can talk a little bit more about it, about what those interests are for group this year. And if no, then that's fine. You just not be considered. And you could always change your mind. Just let me know. If you had 3 wishes, what would you wish for? So that's the last section. I'm sure you could think of 3 things, even if it's something outrageous, like I wish I had $1 million, or something, I wish I had a brand new car, or I wish I lived in a mansion, or those are kind of outlandish ones. Some of them are more realistic, like I wish someone dropped me off at school every morning, or I wish that the kid that sits next to me in math class would stop stepping on my toe every time he sat in his chair, or something like that. It could be something very minor, it could be something big. Okay, last thing is thanks a lot. I really appreciate you filling this out. Take your time and fill it out as much as you can, and then I will go over the next part. Okay, the other side. Again, some of this is self-explanatory, and you don't probably need me to explain it to you, especially some of the 11th graders that I know are like, are you really kidding me, Miss Paredes? Like, why are you explaining this stuff to us? Nonetheless, I want to explain it because some people may have questions, and this is a new form. Okay, so for saving paper purposes, trying to be generous to the environment, I made it double-sided. Only fill out this portion of the paper if you are requesting to meet with me. Some of you have already stopped by my office and said that you wanted to meet with me, and we can make appointments that way. You can always stop by my office and ask me to make an appointment for you. But given that there are 3 grades this year, and a lot more students that don't necessarily know and that may not necessarily feel comfortable coming to me face to face and saying, Ms. Paredes, I really need to see you about an issue. I'm implementing a form this year. I've ordered a box that'll be right outside my door. It's a metal bin, or it's like a messenger box, and it'll be right outside my door, and it'll have the forms in it. I'll also put forms in all the homeroom classes so that if you want to get it in your homeroom class, you can get it there and fill it out and then put it in the box. Until the box is on the wall outside of my office, and it will be locked, so some of you can be sneaky and try to peep on other people's requests. If you don't see it there and you want to hand the form in, you can either give it to your homeroom teacher to give it to me, you can stop off the front office and ask them to put it in my mailbox, or you can slip it under my door. The purpose for the form also is because sometimes my door is locked, and sometimes I'm not in my office, and so you could just take the form, fill it out, give me a heads up as to why you want to see me, and then I'll make the appointment with you, okay? Okay, a little bit about, before the form, a little bit about how sort of my procedural stuff goes on. You'll put in the request either in paper or verbally, and then an appointment will be set up, and you'll show up, and then we'll decide how we proceed from there. For kids that want to be seen individually, then I will meet with you, and those sessions are usually 30 minutes long. They take place in my office, which is here, and for the most part, what goes on in sessions stays sort of in here, and we decide for how long we sort of meet. Most cases don't need to be seen all year, so I won't try to like hold you here in my office all year. And sessions are a half hour as opposed to an hour, whereas last year they were an hour and kids missed out on their whole class. This year it's only going to be for a half hour, so that it'll give you an opportunity to make up work and speak to your teachers about anything that you may have missed while you were sort of in my office.